Hello, welcome to another Windwalker video. In this video, I'll be going over the kind of economy flow of Windwalker and how players will gain experience as well as loot and gold, and how that ties into kind of what level they are, etc. So this tool is called Machinations.io. I found it online. I attended a few of their webinars, just kind of explaining how to use the tool and how economy designers use this to simulate their game's economy. And you can really simulate pretty much any system in your game. Um, but for our sake, I wanted to just kind of simulate combat rewards in our game. So this combat rewards node here is the beginning, and then this is what's called a source node, I believe here. And then what we're doing is we're checking to see how many enemies we're going to encounter first. These these are arbitrary percentages. So the player has a 60% chance of encountering one enemy, 25% chance of encountering two enemies, and 15% of encountering three. And then they're pulled into this f of x thing. It's called a register. Essentially, just defines a function to then pass into another node. In this case, another register node and another register node here. So two register nodes here is what this one is passing into. So we'll just focus on the kind of top half first. So we get over here, we see how many enemies we're going to encounter, and then plop them into here as A. So this register will be known as A, and then over here on the right side, we're passing in B, which is this register, and this register consists of B times A plus 5, which is our formula for calculating how much experience a monster will give. And these formulas are actually very closely based on D&D's leveling formula. I can just move that over here. It's easier to read. So initially at player level 0, they'll be just gaining 5 experience, and 5 multiplied by how many enemies we are encountering will be the number of experience points we're getting. And this is the level up cost at this player's level. And when we reach this cost threshold, we will convert that experience to one level, and then the player's level will increment up. And as the player level increases, so does the monsters that the monsters that the player will encounter. So this base monster experience, actually the base will stay the same, but this register calculating how much experience the monster will give will change. Um, and then as well as the level up cost will increase. Logically, when the player levels up, they require additional experience to level up. So that's kind of what we're going to see here. So I'll press play, and then we can see how many enemies we're fighting. One, three, one, two. So let me actually slow that down a little bit. Right, so 3 enemies at first. It's 5 experience per enemy, 15. That's enough to level up. Player is level 1 now, and leveled up again. So it's moving quite quickly. Leveled up again. But we can see here these registers show what these numbers or what these functions evaluate to, these formulas. So you can see here the level up cost is increasing, so the amount of experience required is increasing here. So the player won't get level up. And again, just focusing on the top half for now. Um, so here right now, a monster at level 3 will give you 605 experience. Just fought 3 of them, so we gained a lot of experience. The player just leveled up. And level 4, 805 experience. Um, Player leveled up again, looks like. So yeah, we're just continuously leveling up here, um, which is nice. So yeah, just the experience gain flows, I guess, pretty self-explanatory. Most of this should be And the reasons why we're using this tool is just kind of make this sort of visualization easier um, than just looking at like a sheets or something like that. And you can find it like the sheets that I've converted from in some of my older videos. But yeah, so now we'll go over this bottom half here. So again, combat rewards, experience, sure, it makes sense. Um, Now what we're focused on is how much gold we're generating and how much gold the player is gaining in terms of like their loot as well as their gold, and also considering how many items that the player can purchase from the NPC store. So again, we factor in how many enemies that they're encountering, as well as the player's level, because that factors into how much gold is dropped by the monster. Because at higher monster levels, they're going to be dropping more gold, um, as well as the cost of a NPC chest. Um, so what that means is the player can access the NPC store and purchase a chest for a certain amount of gold, and how we're balancing how much gold value is dropped from monsters is to um, figure out the rate in which they can purchase a chest. So that factors into how much gold the monster is going to be dropping. And then there's also a tax from purchasing from that NPC store to create a sort of like a money sink deflationary effect um, from the player purchasing things. And that tax is currently set at another arbitrary number at 1.5 times the value of whatever item they're trying to purchase. So that factors into here. Um, Over here, what we're doing is we're summing up the gold dropped as well as the total loot value. So this factors into not just the gold dropped, but also other types of loot that the enemy can drop, like chests, um, equipment, like items, and actually those are the only things that the monsters can drop currently. It's other equipment, armor, weapon, amulets, and then two types of chests. So we're factoring that in, and we have a formula to calculate the gold value of different items. So that's going into kind of the total loot value the player will accumulate as this sort of simulation processes. And then another thing we also want to note is how much gold they're actually gaining, which we mentioned earlier here. So that's going to be the total gold that they're going to be acquiring here, and then before the total loot value, so they can sell these things. But when you sell things, it's not a one-for-one transaction, again because of that, to try and create like a deflationary effect, which isn't actually shown here. But that's one area that we can kind of improve on. You might also be noticing that some of these arrows, I notice with this tool, it's just really hard to get them to look pretty and line up correctly. There we go. Um, yeah, okay, cool. That actually worked, but I'm not sure if that's connected. Okay. Um, yeah, so at the end, we're gaining gold here, and then um, players are going to want to purchase items at the NPC. Um, and this kind of denotes how many um, armor and weapon chests the player will likely purchase, or can purchase actually. So I'm just trying to fix this. Okay, I'm not gonna bother. Yeah, so one of the things that will appear at the NPC store quite often is the armor and weapon chest. And this simulation just runs and tries to simulate how many chests that they can buy, or the max amount of chests that they can buy. So we'll go through this bottom half now. So we've fought two enemies. Each monster is going to drop. Here, let's go step by step. So we fought one enemy here. Um, one monster is going to drop 9.22 gold. So we'll run another step. So we got that 9.22. Fighting another enemy, two enemies, 15. Um, add the multiplier, total value. Yeah, so this is just kind of increasing. I mean, I could pretty much mention all of these before I ran them. But how much gold it's dropping, what's the total loot value calculated by the player's level, the chests, and then this multiplier here. So how many items are going to be purchased? And we can see this number is going to be increasing because the player is leveling up quite frequently. So the rate in which the player's actually able to purchase something is kind of low currently. Um, so we'll see here once it reaches that threshold again. Boom, there it goes. So only able to purchase two items at level 6, which seems quite low. So that might be an area in which we might want to change things. And something we can do to change that is, so this point 1 is actually um, that value that we're tweaking to see um, to increase or decrease the amounts that the player can purchase. So now that we changed this, the player should be getting um, much more gold, almost yeah, like 4 times the gold. So let's see where we're at when the player reaches level 6. So I already see that level 2 they were able to purchase something, and this may be a better solution in the earlier game, but this could have drastic changes in the later stages of the game as well. We don't want to give the player too much gold. 9. So it looks like it's reaching this threshold, but I'm not sure why it's not converting it correctly. Huh. So let's see. Are we missing anything here? Okay, no, that's good. Okay, so, okay, this increased. Okay. Okay, so now, oh, this increased again. Okay, there we go. First item, good. Okay, so it does seem to be working well. Good. I thought I saw a case somewhere where it was not, it was taking in the money and not um, exchanging it, which I think just happened right now. So that's a little strange. Level up cost, interval. Okay, I think maybe if I change this to instant instead, it'll be the behavior I wanted. So let's see. Okay, so now it should convert, which it did. And then it should convert again. It did. It should convert again. And it didn't. And it just consumed it again. Okay, so that's one thing that I need to figure out what's happening here. Um, but the rest of the simulation works as intended. Just kind of this last part here needs a little bit of work. But yeah, thanks for watching.